We are on Baba Metzia, Perek Ted, Mishnah Vav, sixth Mishnah in the ninth chapter of Baba Metzia. We're going to continue. We're talking about kablanut, and here we're talking about chakirut. Okay, remember, if you give a percentage, we're going to talk about the case of what happens if an onus happens, if a terrible tragedy happens, and the field doesn't produce. So if it's, remember, a risut percentage, then the owner loses as well. But what if I agreed chakirut kafakach? I agreed to pay a certain amount. Okay, so now and then a terrible tragedy happens, an act of God. Do I still have to pay? If I don't do the work of the field, then of course I have to pay. But am I covered for acts of God? Says the Mishnah. I agree to share a crop of field with my friend, and I'm going to pay him a certain amount of grain. And chagavim come, locusts come, a plague of locusts come, or nishdefa. Nishdefa, the Kahati says, is that there was a great wind, right? You know, a terrible windstorm happened, and all of the grain fell out of the stalks. So it destroyed the crop. Mishnah says, if it's a widespread makat medina, meaning it happened in the entire area, the entire region, okay, achal chagav, o nishdefu, rov sadot shalota medina, o shalota bika, it's that country or that valley, meaning it's a widespread plague, then menakelo min chakoro. Then he can deduct it because it happened to everyone. But im eno makat medina, if it's not a widespread phenomenon, it's only happened in a localized area to you, then he can't reduce it. Why? Because he can say, listen, yeah, it's bad luck. Things happen in life, bad luck happens. And if it's an act of God for everyone, that's one thing. If it's only an act of God for you, then you can't say, what could I have done? You can say, what could I have done? But some things happen, you still have to pay. That's the way life goes in business. That's interesting. I'm not entirely sure. I have to think about what's the difference if it's widespread or not? It's still an act of God. Mazal chagaram, is it their perspective? What does that mean, mazal chagaram? It's your bad luck. It's bad luck. If it's still an act of God. If you have thoughts, share it to me on email. Rabbi Yehuda says, Im kibla himenu b'ma'od. If you accepted to pay in money, not in grain, benkach ubenkach eno menakelo min chakaro. Either way, then he still can't reduce. Menakel means to take off the amount he agreed to pay him. Meaning, if you agreed to pay in money, afilu makat medina eno menakeh, well, you don't take off even if it's a widespread plague. You agreed to pay the guy money, not grain. So if there's an act of God on the grain, that's one thing. But there's no act of God on shekels or dollars. You have to pay the money one way or another. The grain didn't come up, that's your problem. That's something to consider. So why a person would agree to pay money as opposed to grain, you should probably think about that. So if you have comments, if you have an idea between a localized problem or a widespread problem, email me at ourspotter@gmail.com. Dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Harab Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.